AIEA for filing an annulment after my wife refused intimacy every night for a month. Marriage means partnership, right? At least that's what I thought until I realized I was alone in this relationship. When I decided to act, I thought I knew how this would end, but I was completely wrong. I was at the altar with sweaty palms, my heart pounding as if it wanted to escape my chest. Marisol was stunning. The white dress highlighted her curves. Her smile lit up the room, and her eyes were locked on mine as if I were the only man in the world. I met her 2 years ago, and every moment led us to this day, our wedding. My brother Dorian, who was my best man, nudged me with a mischievous smile. "You're a lucky guy, Adrian," he whispered, just loud enough for the front row to chuckle. I smiled back, believing it. The vows were spoken with ease, promises of a lifetime sealed with a kiss that tasted like hope. If I had known then what I would discover a month later, I would have turned around and walked away. The reception was a whirlwind of toasts and laughter. Dorian took the microphone, his voice already a bit slurred from the alcohol, and gave a speech about how I was always the older brother who had it all. People laughed, patting him friendly on the back. Marisol danced with me, her body pressed against mine, her soft laughter in my ear. I thought it was the beginning of something real. That night, we stumbled into our new home together. My house was now ours. We were exhausted but happy. When I pulled her close, expecting the intimacy we had built during our courtship, she suddenly pulled away, harshly. "Not tonight, Adrian," she said in a firm voice. "My body, my rules." I was frozen, confused, but I nodded. Weddings are stressful, I thought. She just needed time, but it did not change. Night after night, it was always the same. I would try to get close, looking for a spark, but she would shut down, arms crossed, looking anywhere but at me. "My body, my rules," she would repeat like a mantra carved in stone. I would lie there trying to understand what I had done wrong. The problem was me. She already regretted the marriage. I tried to talk. I asked if she was okay, if I could help her with anything. "I'm fine," she would reply curtly before burying herself in her phone. The screen's light would glow late into the night, her fingers typing messages she would not let me see. I asked who she was talking to. "Work," she would answer quickly, without emotion. I wanted to believe her. The days turned into weeks, and the distance between us only grew. She would go out for hours, saying she needed to take care of things, but would return empty-handed. Sometimes I would catch her smiling at her phone, a small, intimate smile she no longer showed me. During dinner, she would barely touch her food and answered my questions with monosyllables. "How was your day?" I would try. "Fine," she would mutter. I started noticing details I had previously ignored. Her interest in my money, my savings, the plans for my construction business. "Just curious," she would say, shrugging. But it did not feel like curiosity. It felt like she was sizing me up. A year earlier, I had gotten her a job at my company as a project manager. The salary was decent. Now, she would show up unannounced, saying she needed to talk about work. She would grab a beer, flop onto the sofa, and ask, "So, how's the wife treating you?" Always with a mocking smile. I would laugh and say she was adjusting to married life. He would nod, but his eyes always sought out Marisol when she entered the room. She would give him a quick, tense smile back. I tried to ignore it. Brothers and wives get along, right? But that doubt grew inside me like a thorn I could not pull out. By the end of the first month, I was a mess, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling while her phone vibrated nonstop on the nightstand. I did not touch it. Going through her phone felt wrong, but the insistent sound would not stop. Buzz, buzz, ding. I got up, walked down the hall trying to push the paranoia away. She was my wife. I had promised to trust her, but trust does not silence questions. The next night, I heard her low, hushed voice from the bathroom. I pressed my ear to the door, my heart pounding. "He doesn't suspect a thing," she whispered. "Just wait." My stomach sank. Who was waiting for what? I took a step back. The floorboard creaked under my feet. The whispering stopped. A minute later, she came out of the bathroom clutching her phone, her expression closed off. "Who were you talking to?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Work," she said hastily. At midnight, I pressed. She turned to me, her eyes flashing. "Leave me alone, Adrian." But I could not. Not after that. In that moment, I decided I was not going to let it go. I was going to find out what she was hiding. I just did not know the truth would shatter my life. But I was sure of one thing. The woman I married was not who I thought she was, and I was determined to find out why. A month after my wedding, I was done keeping up appearances. Marisol's coldness had become a wall, and I was tired of crashing into it. The phrase, "my body, my rules," had gone from a simple annoyance to a slap in the face, and I could not shake the feeling she was hiding something. I would catch her looking at her phone, smiling at messages she hid from me, or going out on shopping trips that lasted for hours. When I asked where she had been, she would give a vague answer before shutting down completely. I was never a jealous guy, not before her. But doubt had taken root and was growing fast. I decided to confront her. It was a Friday night. The house was silent except for the hum of the TV I was not watching. She was on the sofa with her legs curled up, typing on her phone as if her life depended on it. I took a deep breath. I braced myself. "Marisol, we need to talk," I said, keeping my tone firm. She did not even look up. "About what?" she muttered, still typing. "About us. You're distant. You won't touch me. What's going on?" She finally met my eyes, and I saw something flash across her face. Irritation, maybe guilt. "Nothing's wrong," she answered dryly. "I'm just not in the mood." "You don't own me, Adrian." The words hit like a punch. I stood there with my jaw clenched, searching for a crack in her mask. "I'm not trying to own you," I replied. "I'm trying to understand my wife." She rolled her eyes, grabbed her phone, and walked out, slamming the door behind her. I did not follow. Work was my refuge. But even there, the unease would not leave me. My construction company was my pride. 10 years of sweat and sleepless nights had turned a single truck into a team of 20 people. My brother Dorian managed projects for me, and lately, he had been acting strange. He would stop by my office more than necessary, leaning against the doorframe with that lazy smile. "How's married life, boss?" he would ask. Too casual, too often. I would shrug. I would say everything was fine, but his questions always came back to Marisol. "Is she happy? Giving you any trouble?" He would laugh, but his eyes would fix on my reaction. I started to wonder why he cared so much. Then came the day he asked about money. We were in the kitchen, having coffee. "Business still doing well?" he asked, stirring sugar into his cup. "Yeah, it's stable," I replied, watching him. He nodded and added, "Ever thought about selling? You've got enough money to live comfortably now." I frowned. Why would I do that? This is my life. He shrugged with a crooked smile. "Just saying, Marisol might like a more comfortable life." It was a strange comment that stuck in my head. I tried to ignore it, thinking it was just Dorian being Dorian. Nosy, maybe a little envious. Ever since we were kids, he always wanted what I had. I did not see the warning signs. That night, Marisol left her phone in the kitchen while she took a shower. The screen lit up with a message. I should not have looked. I knew it, but curiosity won. The message was from a contact named Alex. Just 2 words, "All good." My heart raced. Alex could be anyone, a friend from her old job or a cousin, but my gut was screaming one name: Dorian. I did not touch the phone, did not check further, just stood there, staring until she came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel. She snatched the phone quickly, her eyes narrowing. "What are you doing?" she snapped. "Nothing," I lied. "Just saw it vibrate." She did not believe me, but she did not press it either. I went to bed with a knot in my chest. The next day, I checked the phone records. I had never done anything like that before. I felt like a scumbag, but I needed to know. I logged into our shared phone account and checked the numbers. There it was. Dozens of calls to Dorian's cell, some lasting an hour, most of them at night when I was asleep or out. My hands trembled as I printed the list. I did not confront her yet. I needed proof, something solid. I started watching her closely, where she went, who she talked to. She either did not notice or did not care. Everything came to a head a week later. She said she was meeting a friend for drinks. She left in a hurry. I waited 10 minutes and followed her. I drove slowly, keeping my distance, tracking her car across town. She did not go to a bar. She parked in a park on the outskirts of town, a dark, unlit place. I stopped a block away and watched her get out of the car. Then I saw him. Dorian got out of his truck, hands in his pockets. My heart stopped. She walked toward him, and before I could process it, they were kissing. A deep, desperate kiss, like they had done it 100 times before. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My wife, my brother, together. I did not scream, did not run at them, just sat there, numb, as the truth took root. This was not just a betrayal. It was a knife in my back, twisted slowly. I drove home. That scene burned into my mind, her hands on him, his smile as he pulled her closer. I did not know exactly what they were planning, but I knew one thing. I was no longer the deceived fool, and they would regret underestimating me. Seeing Marisol and Dorian together in that park broke something inside me. Not my heart, but my patience. I had spent a month swallowing doubts, making excuses, but that kiss shone a light on the truth. They were not just betraying me, they were manipulating me. I drove home that night with my hands steady on the wheel, my mind racing. I did not cry, I did not scream, I focused. If they thought I was going to take this silently, they did not know me at all. The next morning, while Marisol was still asleep, I went to my office. I already had the call logs, hours of conversations between her and Dorian, some while I was in the next room. Then I checked the bank statements. My account showed withdrawals I had not made, small at first, then larger, all linked to her debit card. She was siphoning money, covering her tracks with vague receipts. I also found messages synced to the cloud from months ago. One from Dorian to her, dated before the wedding. He's rich, just hold on. Another from her to him. I'm going to take what I can. My stomach churned. This was not a romance gone wrong. It was a setup. That afternoon, I called my lawyer, Cedric. He had drafted the prenup I insisted Marisol sign. She had signed it reluctantly, joking that I did not trust her. Turns out, I was right. I want to annul this marriage, I told Cedric, explaining the case, the betrayal, and the money trail. She married me under false pretenses. It's fraud. He did not hesitate. We have a case. Get me everything. Messages, photos, evidence. I spent the next 2 days gathering everything. I photographed Marisol's phone screen when she left it unlocked, Dorian's name glowing with a heart emoji. I hired an investigator to follow them. I got photos of them together again. Every piece fit together like a puzzle I wish I had never assembled. Marisol noticed something was wrong when I stopped talking to her. I did not confront her. Why show my hand? She would catch me staring and ask, "What's your problem?" I would just shrug and say, "Nothing." She got nervous. She started packing bags for a weekend away. I let her think she still had time. The day I filed for the annulment, Cedric had her served with the papers at the house. I was not there. I did not want to see her fake tears. She called me, screaming, "You can't do this." I hung up. The next day, she filed a countersuit demanding alimony, claiming I forced her to marry and that she was entitled to my company. A bold move for a liar. Work became a minefield. Dorian showed up on Monday acting as if nothing had happened. He walked into my office, threw a folder on my desk, and said with a smile, "Here are the project updates." I looked at him, my younger brother, the kid I had bailed out of trouble so many times, but now I just saw a stranger. "You're fired," I said coldly. His smile vanished. "What? You heard me. Get out." He stammered. "Adrian, what's going on? What's this about?" I stood up, walked closer, and whispered, "I saw you two together. Pack your things, you're done." His face went pale, then red. "It's not what you think." I cut him off. "Save it for someone who cares." He gathered his things and left, muttering under his breath. But the real blow came at the family dinner that weekend. My mother invited me, saying it was time to fix things. I should have seen it coming. When I walked in, there they were, Marisol and Dorian, sitting at the table as if I had interrupted a family meal. My mother came to me, her hands clasped together. "Adrian, we have to fix this," she said, her voice trembling. "They told me everything. It was a mistake, just a bit of fun that got out of hand." I looked at her, then at them. Marisol avoided my gaze. Dorian smirked as if he had already won. "A mistake?" I asked slowly. "Stealing from me? Sleeping with my wife? That's your idea of a mistake?" My mother flinched. "He's your brother." I laughed. A dry, bitter laugh. "He's not my brother, he's a parasite." I pointed at Marisol. "And she's a gold digger who never loved me." Marisol jumped up. "That's not true." Dorian grabbed her arm, trying to calm her. "Adrian, let's talk." I took a step forward, looming over him. "You do not say anything. You do not get anything. Not my money, not my trust, not my name." I turned to my mother. "You're choosing him over me? Fine. You're out too." She gasped, but I did not stop. just walked out. Their voices faded behind me. The court hearing came quickly. Marisol's lawyer tried to paint a fairy tale, the poor girl trapped in a controlling marriage. Cedric tore the story apart, showing the judge the messages, the photos, the prenuptial agreement. This marriage was a sham, he said. She chose him for his money. The judge agreed. Annulment granted. No alimony, no payout. Marisol shot me a death glare as she stormed out, Dorian trailing behind her like a kicked dog. I did not feel victorious. Not yet. I felt empty, but freer. That night, I sat alone in my house. Our house, now mine again. The silence was deafening, but it was mine. They lost. I won, but it was not over. I knew Marisol. She would try something, and Dorian would follow. I was not done with them yet. Winning in court was fine, but it was not enough. Marisol and Dorian had wrecked my life, and I was not going to let them get away with it. They underestimated me once. They thought I would just lick my wounds and move on. I spent years building my company, my name, my reputation. They were not going to trash that and walk away. I would make sure they felt the consequences. Every sharp piece of them. Marisol struck first. A day after the annulment, my phone exploded with notifications, public posts on social media. Trapped in a loveless marriage, she wrote. He controlled me. He took everything from me. She painted herself as the victim. Tears in her profile picture. Posts screaming injustice. The comments piled up. Strangers calling me a monster. Old friends asking, what happened? I could have ignored it, let it fade. But then I saw Dorian's reply. He was always a selfish bastard. You deserved better. That lit the fuse. They wanted a war. I gave them one. I had ammunition. Those messages from before the wedding where they mocked me. He's rich. Hold on. Dorian had said. The naive cash cow, Marisol had called me. I logged into my account and posted the screenshots with a single sentence. The truth hurts. No speech, no drama, just the cold, hard evidence. The tide turned quickly. Her followers backpedaled. His friends went silent, but I did not stop. I sent emails to a few key people, clients, mutual contacts, with the same evidence, keeping the tone professional. Just clarifying the facts, I wrote. The news spread. Marisol's victim act crumbled. Dorian's charm could not stand up to it. He tried to hit me where it hurt, my business. I got a call from Ronan, a construction foreman. Dorian was here, talking trash about you to the crew, he told me. Said you fired him for no reason. Tried to pull some of the guys to his side. I clenched my jaw and thanked him for the heads up. My crew was loyal. No one took the bait, but I was not leaving it to chance. Lilith, my office manager, took the lead. She had been with me for 5 years. She was sharp as a tack and never liked Dorian. Leave it to me, she said. And she handled it, discreetly spreading the word among our suppliers about what he had done. By the end of the week, no one in town would give him work. Dorian became radioactive. Then came the family disaster. A week after the court's decision, I got a text. Dinner at my place, 6 p.m. We need to talk. It was from my mother. I almost said no, but curiosity won. When I arrived, I realized it was a trap. Marisol and Dorian were sitting at the table. My mother hovered like a nervous mediator. Adrian, sit down, she said softly. We can fix this. I remained standing. Fix what? The fact that they betrayed me. Marisol spoke up. You're overreacting. It wasn't personal. Dorian nodded, putting on a repentant face. We messed up, Adrian. Let's move past it. I looked at my mother, waiting for her to defend me, but she did nothing. They've apologized, she said. He's your brother. My anger was quiet, cutting. Apologies do not erase a year of lies. He's not my brother. He's a thief. I pointed at Marisol. And she's a user who played all of us. My mother cried. You're tearing this family apart. I stepped forward. My voice low and firm. No, they destroyed it. You just chose the wrong side. Dorian stood up. Come on, man. I cut him off. You are nothing to me now. I looked at my mother. Call me when you figure out who your son really is. I walked out, leaving their protests behind. Back home, I breathed. My company was stable. Clients stuck by me. Profits held steady. Lilith handled everything. She even brought me coffee one day with a simple, "You doing okay, boss?" I was grateful for it. But the fight was not over. Marisol's posts dwindled. Dorian could not get a job, but I knew them. They would try something desperate. And then it came. Late one night, my phone buzzed. An unnamed number, but I knew who it was. You're going to regret this. No context, no direct threat, just words glowing in the dark. I stared at the screen, my pulse steady. Regret. I had felt plenty of that. Regret for trusting her, for giving Dorian a job, for believing my mother's excuses, but this, making them pay. This was not regret. This was justice. I did not reply, just forwarded it to Cedric. Save this, I wrote. Whatever she was planning, I would be ready. I leaned back in my chair, the house silent around me. I had lost a wife, a brother, a mother, but not the real ones, just shadows wearing their faces. Did it hurt? Yes, but it also cleared the board. I was alone, but I was in control, and that was something they would never take from me again. Marisol's message hung in the air like a shadow, but I was not afraid. I had already seen the worst of them, and I was still standing. Whatever came next, I would face it head on. I was no longer the prey in their game. Now, I was making the rules. It did not take long. A week later, Cedric called. She filed a lawsuit, he said. Claims you coerced her into signing the prenup. Says she has proof. I let out a short, dry laugh. Proof of what? Her lies. He sent me the documents. Attached were photos of me and her, edited to make it look like I was screaming, gripping her arm. Fake, but convincing to anyone who did not know the truth. Alongside was a sworn statement from her, claiming I had threatened her to sign. My blood boiled, but I kept my cool. We can beat this. Cedric did not hesitate. We're going to bury her. The hearing was scheduled quickly. Marisol was in a hurry to win. She probably thought I would fold. I walked into the courtroom with Cedric by my side and saw her across the room. She was wearing a demure dress, her eyes red as if she had been crying. Dorian was nowhere in sight. I guess even he had abandoned her. Her lawyer approached confidently, presenting the doctored photos and her sob story. Mr. Carter intimidated my client, he said. She feared for her safety. The judge, a serious woman with a sharp gaze, glanced at the evidence without emotion. Cedric went into action. He presented the metadata from the photos, proving they were edited after the annulment. He showed the original messages where she called me a cash cow, revealing her true intent. This is not coercion, Cedric told the judge. This is the revenge of a woman who lost her payday. I took the stand and kept it simple. She married me for money. When I caught her with my brother, she turned on me. Those photos are lies. The judge did not even blink. 10 minutes later, decision made. Motion denied. Case dismissed. Marisol's face twisted in rage as she stormed out, her lawyer muttering apologies. I did not smile, just left, free once and for all. That night, Dorian showed up. I was on my porch, having a beer, when his truck pulled up. He got out with his hands raised as if in surrender. Adrian, just hear me out, he said, his voice trembling. I put the bottle aside and stood up. You have 30 seconds. He stumbled over his words. He lost his job prospects. Marisol left him. Our mother would not stop crying. I screwed everything up, he admitted. I'm sorry. You're my brother. I stepped forward, looking him straight in the eye. You stopped being my brother the day you chose her over me. You do not get a second chance to stab me again. He backed away, trying to argue. Get off my property, I said, my tone final. He left, defeated. I did not bother to watch him go. The next day, I received a handwritten letter from my mother, 2 pages filled with guilt. You're breaking my heart, Adrian. He's your blood. We're family. I read it once. I saw how she chose her side again, blaming me for the mess they created. I lit a match and touched it to the corner of the letter. I watched it burn in the sink. Family does not betray you and then demand forgiveness like it is a right. I was done carrying that weight. Work kept me grounded. Lilith stepped up, running everything like a machine, keeping the team together. One morning, she brought coffee and stood by my desk. You okay? She asked. No pity, just honesty. I nodded and replied, getting there. She smiled, a small but genuine smile. Good, you deserve it. I looked at her, smart, reliable, someone who stood by me when everything fell apart. Maybe it was too soon, maybe it was nothing, but I asked her out for a drink after work. She said yes. It was not a solution, but it was a start. The last piece fell into place a week later. I drove to the outskirts of town, a high spot where I used to go to think. I stood there, hands in my pockets, looking out over the city. I had lost a lot. Marisol's fake love, Dorian's loyalty, my mother's blind faith. It hurt, left me empty for a while, but I fought back. I took away any power they had over me. My company was mine, stronger than ever. My life was mine, with no strings to pull. I thought about Marisol's last message, her empty threat. Regret. I did not feel it. I trusted too much, yes, but that was my mistake. I learned, I sharpened, I cut the dead weight. They bet on me to break. I bet on myself, and I won. The sun began to set, and I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. I was not the man I was a year ago, naive, hopeful, blind. Now I was tougher, clearer, and for the first time in months, I felt solid. I turned back to my truck, ready for whatever came next. They lost. I won. That was the end of their story, and the beginning of mine. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.